Welcome, everyone. Today's video, the Federal Reserve explained simply. Okay, before I get into it, I want to go ahead and shout out my school community, Leverage Academy. Guys, I have completed the credit maxing video course. Everything has been uploaded, so go check it out. The price is $199, and for that price, you get so much value. Okay, it includes, let's get straight into it. These are all the chapters in the do-it-yourself course, in the credit maxing course for $199. There's the intro and mindset module, how to build credit 101 module. There is one, two, three, four different sub chapters in the credit repair module where you learn how to remove all negative items from your credit report. Also, there is the credit repair, how to start a credit repair business 101 module, leveraging credit 101 module. Basically gets into all the different stuff. You could do all the doors that open when you have good credit. Also, bonus materials, how to fight debt collectors, credit stacking and funding guide, and credit card tracker. Okay, all of these. Okay, literally so much value, and it's only for $199. So I put a lot of work, a lot of effort into this. A couple people were able to get the pre-sale. They were lucky, but yeah, guys, honestly, for $199, it's such a good quality course. Also, I did make some changes to the school community. So Leverage Academy school community, it's free to enter. However, when you go to Classroom, that's where we have different paid products. For the do-it-yourself credit maxing video course, that's $199. We also have a done for you service where we actually do all the credit repair disputes for you to get the negative items removed from your credit report. That's $999. And then also we have the credit maxing inner circle coaching. That's one-on-one coaching with me. That is $2,000 or $1,999. You understand? So also shout out to our sponsor, Credzly.com, for all your credit building services and also credit monitoring services and so much more. So go check them out. Now, back to the video, guys. The Federal Reserve. All right, so there is a myth that I've heard all my life. And that myth is that the government just prints money. Oh my God, I've actually heard so many people say this, and you're totally wrong. And it's actually like a very ignorant thing to say, very stupid thing to say. If you actually educated yourself, you would know that's far from the truth. And most people have no idea what they're talking about. So I'm gonna actually break this down to you, because the first step to actually changing something is to learn what's actually going on. You understand what I mean? So that's what I want to explain to you, how this economy, how everything actually works financially here in the United States of America. So, and I'm going to do this like layman's terms. I'm going to explain this to as simply as I possibly can. So most people think that the government prints money. They don't. The Federal Reserve, which is actually not federal, by the way, it's a private entity, they create the money. They print the money, right? The United States, the actual government borrows the money from the Federal Reserve. You see, so it's not the government of the United States that print the money. No, it's the Federal Reserve, and then they go borrow the money. The government goes borrows the money. So typically, when you borrow money, right, you need a collateral. This is where it gets crazy, and this is kind of like where I would say it gets pretty dark. This whole system. We are the collateral. All right, the money isn't backed by gold or anything like that. Okay, we are literally the collateral they use to borrow this money from from the Federal Reserve. The United States of America borrows the money from the Federal Reserve, and they use us as the collateral. So essentially, when I say us, I mean taxpayers, our labor, and our future productivity. All of these things are taken into account. And I don't know if you guys notice, but we're literally in a system where we have social security numbers and we're tracked through our whole life. Everything we do, okay, it's all in databases. You know what I mean? They literally follow us since birth, okay? Even if you are an immigrant, you get an ITIN number and that's also tracked. You understand what I'm saying? So, and there's really no way to live off the grid, honestly. Like, you're going to give up so many rights and so many things, right, like resources, that if you go off the grid and you stop using your social or whatever, like, guys, at the end of the day, or if you weren't born with one, you're going to have to end up getting one. Like, for example, if I don't know, if you were born in like a home birth or something like that, like these days it's done. Even if you give birth at home, you're gonna have to get your child a social security number, or whatever. And the reason being is because, like, then you can't be in school, you can't get a bank account, you can't get a debit card, a credit card, you can't get a license, you can't get anything. It's like literally you end up stripping yourself Okay, and they made the system like this so that way they need to be able to track you, because each person they have in the system, the more money they can borrow. You understand what I'm saying? So that's kind of the first dark thing that I reveal in this video, is that since birth, if you were born in this country, or the since you entered this country, they've been tracking you, and they essentially need to track you so they can get more money. And they, use every single body, okay, every single number, so to say, as collateral to borrow more money. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, this is literally on some like Andrew Tate Matrix type stuff. It's just the truth, okay? And the faster you realize that there is a system, that you're a part of the system, and that the system isn't necessarily built to help you, and not that I'm going to get into that, right? You think like your job or whatever help, like, man, you're in for a rude awakening, because so essentially what happens is they use us as collateral. They borrow the money from the Federal Reserve, which isn't even federal. It's literally a private entity. But, and also the government, by the way, guys, is a corporation. All right. So, like, it's so crazy to think how, like, you could go start a LLC or a corporation, and then you could go to the bank and borrow money. It's essentially the same thing. United States of America is a corporation. They borrow money from the Federal Reserve. Okay. Which literally is a private entity with different banking groups. Okay. So and they use us as the collateral. We're essentially their credit score. The more people they have, the better their credit score, right? And the more taxpayers and stuff like that, more laborers and all that. And also, like, if you think about it, that's probably why, not probably, that is why they want most of you guys to be average or below average and just have jobs and stuff like that. Okay. So taxpayers essentially, right? Because when you're, most people in business, especially very successful people in business, they know there's the way around the system and how to pay less taxes. The most taxes I ever paid in my life was when I had, 6-figure salary jobs and stuff like that. So anyways, so the government borrows that money, and then they basically use it to stimulate the economy. But the Federal Reserve earns profit on the interest, and also the United States also earns profit. Okay, and there's no profit to you. You see what I'm saying? So you're literally the collateral. They got the money basically by using you as the collateral, and you don't get to eat. So the funny thing is, actually, the story I want to relate to this is we were in Aruba, okay, and we went to Gianni's. If you guys have ever been to Aruba, Gianni's is a very famous Italian restaurant over there. Oof, one of my favorite spots to go when I'm in Aruba. Gotta go there if I'm in Aruba. And I took my in-laws, and we all got like pasta and pizza and stuff like that. It's an Italian restaurant, but my mother-in-law, she likes seafood, so she got like the fish fillet, not the burger from McDonald's, but like a proper fish, big fillet of fish, where basically they come to the table and they prep it there for you. It's already cooked and everything, right? Already seasoned and all that, and comes with the sides and whatever you get in the sauce. But they essentially remove the bones from the fish, right? So they like cut it open and they fillet it, take the bones out, okay, and then they prep the meat. So imagine she orders the fish. They come to the table, okay, and they take the bones out, and then they give her the bones instead of the meat and go in with the meat. That's pretty much what they do to you guys, man. Okay, so like literally, they're over here. You ordered a fish, they filleted the fish, and they're giving you they're giving you the bones instead of the meat. You're sitting there like, wow, thank you, sir. Yo, it's crazy, man. And you guys sit there and take it too. That's the craziest part, man. It's so wild. Like, you didn't sign up to be in the system. You just go with the flow, and they're over here eating off you, and you don't even get a piece of the pie or anything. Like, and I don't want to make this a negative video or anything like that. I'm not a doomer by any means, but I just want to like really open your guys' mind that they essentially, they don't print the money, they go borrow the money from the Federal Reserve, okay, and they use you as the collateral, and then they make money on top of the money. Meanwhile, the money that you do have, that you got from working and whatnot, that money actually loses its value every single year. It's literally a direct tie to inflation as well. So as they make more money and borrow more money, you end up losing your value financially. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to realize that there is a system. that you're a part of it, and that it's not necessarily built to actually help you. Okay. So people that don't understand the system typically end up getting crushed by it. So that was the whole point of this video today, was to actually open your eyes and make you realize, how does this actually work? It's not that the government's printing the money. That's not how it works. Now you know, in layman's terms, simply put, how does the system work? So it's funny, like I said, the United States of America, which is a corporation, borrows money from the Federal Reserve, okay? And then they make money on top of that money. You see what I'm saying? So literally, you could do the same thing. You need to understand, like, you could literally improve your credit score. You could remove the negative items if you have them, or you could build your credit, or you could do both. You understand what I'm saying? That way, when you have a strong credit profile, you can go borrow money. And you should also educate yourself so you know what to do with that money, right? You can invest in a business and whatnot. You can invest in real estate. You see what I'm saying? Maybe you have a job right now, right? And then you want to take that job and start your own company with it from the experience that you have. You see? So that's how you have to learn. Okay, even the government, this is the game that they're playing. And you know what's so funny? Like, there's levels to this, guys. Like, you can go maybe get a loan from the bank for 10 grand or something, and that's a big deal to you. Man, there's people out here getting loans for seven figures, eight figures. Okay. I literally worked for a guy here in downtown Chicago. I worked for a company, fintech company, spent 6 years there. And it's funny because it was a father and son duo, and the father had sold his company way back in the day. I want to say it was the 90s. He started the company in the 80s and sold it in the 90s for 400 something million dollars. Okay. And then him and his son, once his son, like, finished college and everything like that, he basically helped his son start his own fintech company. And I believe they started the company with 15 million, which they only put up half of it. Okay. The other half they got lines of credits from the bank. Mind you, this is centimillionaire family. They literally pretty much have unlimited money, and they even still borrow, just take on their business ventures and whatnot. Guys, there's levels to this, man. And you know what? I will say this too, because there are probably, like, religious Muslims and stuff like that. And they don't like to partake in interest, which is fine, right? At the end of the day, though, your credit score still matters, because even if you're renting an apartment, right, they check your credit score. Even for certain jobs, for a lot of jobs these days, especially the good ones, they check your credit score as well. So that being said, check out my school community, Leverage Academy. Okay, we have the credit maxing course in there. That's the DIY video course where you can learn how to repair your credit, build your credit, how to start a credit repair business, and so many more bonus modules in there. That's $199. I also have a done for you service. That's $999, and I also have one-on-one coaching, which is $2,000. Okay, and then shout out to our sponsor, Credzly.com. They have credit building products and credit monitoring products and so much more. But I hope you guys enjoyed and learned a lot from this video. Thanks for watching.